Welcome back to another video here on Free Will Photos. Today we are looking at Luminar Neo. Now we're going to take a look at some of the AI features that are specific to Luminar Neo. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So if you're considering picking up Luminar Neo, it's probably because of the AI features that are built in. So how good are they, and do they work on everyday average photos for the hobbyist photographer? Let's take a look. So the first one we're going to throw on this image is Enhance AI. So I'm going to click on it and then just start dragging the accent AI all the way up until I start to get a good vibrancy and brightness out of the image, right? So this is improving the exposure. If I hold the backslash key on my keyboard, you can see this is the before and that is the after. Now, I'm going to close that out because I think that is pretty good. Now, the next AI tool, and this is new to Luminar Neo, is this Relight AI tool. So let's go ahead and click there. And I'm going to drag down just a little bit so it's more in the center of the screen. And I'm going to relight this photo using the brightness near and the brightness far sliders. So by pulling the brightness near, the thing that's closest to the camera or the lens, which is this flower here, I don't know what type of flower it is, that's going to get brighter. Now, what I like to do is create a tonal separation or an exposure separation from my subject to the background. Luminar Neo allows us to do that a little bit better with this Relight AI feature by pulling back on this brightness far, and you can see the background is getting a little bit darker where the foreground is a little bit brighter. Now, the next slider here is going to be this depth slider. And as you pull this back and forth, you can see it's starting to move down on my flower and make it darker, which I don't want. So I'm going to pull this the opposite direction and pull it off of my flower so that way the brightest portion can stay on the flower and the darkest portion stays on the background. Now, if I were to hold this little eye icon, you can see this is the before and this is the after. It just makes the background less interesting so the focus can go on the flower here. And I haven't done any masking, by the way. This is just using the tools, using a slider, and going with it. So the last thing that we'll probably add to this particular image is going to be glow. We'll click here and we'll crank up the amount just a little bit. And this just brings a nice look and aesthetic, right? Doesn't matter what it's actually doing. It's what it makes the photo look like, right? But it says that it's a soft focus here. I'll be lying to you if I told you I knew exactly what was happening. All I know is I like the way that it looks. And this is the total before and the after. Now, if you say, well, Chris, what if I wanted to go back and re-edit some of the adjustments that I made? Then up here at the top where it says edits, you'll click there and all four of the edit modules that I used earlier are now available for re-editing. Now, you'll notice that I have a develop module. This will only show up if you're using a raw image for your photo, or if the photo that you're editing is a raw image, you'll get the raw develop module here. Otherwise, you won't have that, and you'll see that I only had these three options that I used here, two of which are AI features. You can tell by the little AI badge next to it. And then the other one was just a basic glow. So if I wanted to add another instance of the Relight AI to my image here, all I have to do is click on Relight AI, and then this time I only want to apply the Relight AI to the flower here. And I'm going to click on masking, and then I'll go with radial gradient, and I'll click and drag, and I will put this right over the flower here, maybe reshape it a little bit. Yeah, reshape it there, pull that, and we'll rotate this just a touch. I think this will work for the tutorial. Uh-oh, did not mean to drag that up so high. Let's just pull that to right there. Okay, so now that that is in place, what you need to do is click on invert, so that way I'm only dealing with the inside, right? Because if I invert this, then I'm going to impact everything that's in red. But what I want to do is the opposite and only impact what's here on the flower. So now when I come back to adjustments and I bring up my near lighting, you can see it's only impacting the flower here. Now, that is way too much, but I'm just doing it for demonstration purpose. You could also do this inside of the develop if you so chose or so choose. But when I click back on edits, you can see I now have two instances of Relight. Now, what would be nice is if they allow us to rename these. Right now, I cannot rename my modules over here. So you kind of just have to know which one is which, because if you have multiple relights and you can't really tell a difference because you made subtle adjustments, it's going to be a little bit complicated. So just keep that in mind. But hopefully this was value added. If it was, smash the like button. If you're new here, my name's Chris. I create content centered around all-in photo raw and other photo editing applications such as Luminar Neo. If that's something you want to see more videos on, smash that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get notified every time that I put a new video up. And until the next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.